Hey, my name is Mike, and this is a too long didn't read version of Mythic Oregorger. The boss does Acid Torrent, which is a frontal cone ability aimed at a ranged player and does a lot of damage. The damage it deals is based off the person it hits, which is always the closest person to the boss, which should always be your main tank. The amount of mitigation that the tank uses for this ability dictates how much damage is done to him and the rest of the raid, so you always want to have a defensive cooldown up for this. When a tank gets hit by Acid Torrent, he gets a debuff on him that increases the amount of damage Acid Torrent does, so you want to always make sure you're swapping tanks. Range should be stacking up for phase 1. Oregorger throws Wretched Blackrock at the ranged. It's basically like a lava void zone that should be moved out of as soon as possible. Blackrock Barrage is a raid-wide AoE that the boss can cast that needs to be interrupted. It gets cast 5 times on Mythic as opposed to 3 on Heroic. Oregorger throws an exploding rock at melee who should be moving out of that as fast as possible. When the boss gets 0 mana, phase 2 starts. Throughout this phase, he's just rolling around the room. Whenever he hits the wall, he does raid-wide AoE. When the boss stops rolling, he leaves a fireball on the ground. If he rolls to that same spot and hits that fireball, it'll explode, which will make it spawn 4 walls of fire. If any of these walls hit another fireball, that fireball will also explode, doing more firewalls. Throughout this phase, he also gets a stacking buff every time he hits the wall that increases the amount of damage from that wall hit by 5%. The boss never doubles back on himself, meaning he'll never go back the way he just came, so if you want to make sure you're not getting hit, just stand in the direction he just came from. Also, throughout this phase, these boxes spawn around the room. When you kill these boxes, Blackrock ore spawn, and when the boss rolls over them, he gets 10% of his mana back. The goal of this phase is to regenerate 100% of his mana, so he has to roll over 10 of these ores. The boss will always roll in a direction that has the most ore available. Once he gets 100 mana, phase 1 starts all over again. It's also important to note that if the boss goes through phase 1 and 2 twice, he enrages. Offensive cooldowns should be used right at the start of the fight. Defensive cooldowns can be used whenever needed. That was a too long didn't read version of Mythic Oregorger. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching and have an awesome day.